Hello, welcome to
HBO Double Threat.
a Succession Barry podcast. This is where we analyze Succession and Barry's final episodes, all concluding on May 28th. And today we'll be analyzing and breaking down the episode season 4, episode 7 of Succession.
And episode 6. Wait, is it?
No,
it's
episode
not. 5.
Episode
awesome. I'm awesome.
Season 4,
I can
episode
get
5 of Barry. And so, yeah, it's very exciting. I would say I'll just give the breakdown. Let's just get into it. So I wrote down the succession breakdown.
So we're doing Succession first.
Yeah, we're going to do
like
Succession.
The typical style we have.
So on election eve, the two candidates are Jimenez and Mencken. Which Mencken we remembered from the last season of Succession, where it's Roman back to his father, as you can remember back.
Yeah.
And so there is a big party at Shiv and Tom's house where everyone is there, from liberal podcasters to campaign managers. Roman and Kendall plan to use this party as a way to schmooze people, so the regulatory people, so they can kind of investigate Matson, so they can stop the deal. But Shiv, being on the offense and being a mole for Matson himself, tells him to come, make sure to stop the Kendall stuff, because Shiv, she told him her line herself with Matson, but her brothers don't know that, so that's going to be a pretty interesting reveal when that probably comes out. And so as the night continues, there's multiple different balances of power. Roman tries to stop Connor from continuing his
running for president.
Yeah, he's stopping him from running him for president because he's being a thorn in Mencken's side, and so he gets this thing where he gets to be ambassador to some country Oman or yeah.
And is that a real country? Did they make up a country for the show? No. Oh, no. The first thing when you look up Omar is a United States representative. Maybe country.
Say Omar.
Oh, it is a country. It's Oman.
Oman. Okay.
Oman.
And so that's that. But it's really, it's not kind of really sad how when Roman tells him, "You're a fucking joke, man."
Yeah. Really he's literally the guy he's literally been only comic relief basically to be this guy wants to be the president.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, Kendall is failing to persuade people. He's really still not the Logan he wants to be. He's failing at this. Yeah.
I have a quote. Someone literally said to him, "You aren't Logan." Just exactly that line.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on, because the guy, it was Gil. If you remember Gil from the previous seasons, it was his campaign manager who said, "You're not Logan, and I'm not Gil." But especially the "you're not Logan" part, that's really impactful for Kendall's state of mind.
Yeah.
And then let's see. And so then we see something really interesting. I found out that information is revealed by Ebba. Lucas's
the assistant,
and he says that he's not actually the great business titan he turns out to be. He's doing false subscriber numbers in India, and it's important to remember because he owns I think a streaming service or something like that.
Yeah, he owns a weird Netflix,
it's called Gojo, something like that. So the subscriber numbers are false. So that that's interesting. And then the biggest, for me at least, it was the biggest emotion of the episode. My favorite personal scene where Tom and Shiv have a fight where I would say they get to the lowest point in their relationship.
Yeah, and it's weird because it was repaired at the beginning of the episode, then it got slowly broken down until this part.
Exactly, Beck. That's so right, because last episode we see Tom. He's saying, "Yeah, I'm shallow. I'm a shallow guy." And then
I like the money.
I like the money. And it's we feel this kind of sense of connection, right? Yeah, and so, but then
the scorpion thing, yeah.
Yeah, that awkward moment when Tom gave her the scorpion, I was at the beginning of the episode, it's a gift. I thought this is going to lead to some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I just wrote down scorpion was the first note I ever the first note
Me,
I
I
took.
actually I wrote that down too. Scorpion? Question mark?
Yeah.
It's like I would say they're kind of both scorpions in their relationship, you know?
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting? It's a parallel between Connor and Willa and Shiv and Tom because like surprisingly, Connor and Willa are the most stable relationship in this entire show.
Yeah, and they both know they're just together for like money and love.
Which in a way is at least it provides more happiness than what Connor and what Tom and Shiv
Yeah.
have.
Just being completely clear with it.
Yeah, and so that I'll talk about a little bit more, but that just like I loved it so much because the fight like gave so much layers and deep, and something similar like that happened, which like a little talking to between Roman and Jerry. Now I had a question: do you think this might be just the end of Jerry's character?
Probably.
Because
I
that it
mean,
just makes sense, right?
she's literally just been fired.
Mhm. And at least she wasn't like she was kind of salty, but she was like, "I'm out. I'm done with you, Roman." And that's kind of like
Yeah. It's
I
mostly
ultimately,
to
yeah.
show Roman the mistake of like firing her and like
Hmm.
these rash decisions he's made without consequences of now
Yeah, I would
given.
say, yeah. This episode is really trying to prove that more and more. It's like Kendall and Roman are not good at this,
Yep.
and so essentially, and then I would say this is the final point. It's like, and not this is the relationship episode. Like every relationship comes in this episode, whether they're gonna stay together or they're gonna break up. So Roman and Jerry, they're done. Tom and Shiv, interesting. It's interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Shiv and Matson are also kind of like
That was
uh
like, yeah. I was like, I think in this episode, I think it's more clear that he's kind of manipulating her in a way.
yeah,
You think he's just playing dumb with her?
maybe.
It's kind of I don't know. I feel like when he's talking, he's just trying to get in with her, so he kind of use her because the fact that he does not give her a clear answer, which says, "What can you provide for me?" It's like another imbalance of power. So
Yeah.
and then I just like the final note is that Kendall and Lucas have a very weird confrontation where they end up hugging, which that was
Yeah.
that was really weird. And so yeah, I'll just start off with my analysis, and you could do some feedback on that. I'll start with next week is officially the election episode. You know that, back?
Okay, yes, they confirmed like
There's like
big
yeah.
does the Nazi they back become the president?
Hmm. And I would say this is kind of like this is election eve, so this is literally the calm before the storm.
Yeah, well, we said that in episode 2 and the storm like killed someone, so
Yeah, and so there's like, but the thing about Succession is that there's like they never really stay like continuous with their characters, which in a way kind of really their morality is kind of big because like I could see in this episode Tom and Shiv have a big fight. Next episode they're kind of arm in arm, you know.
yeah.
They do a lot of character reversals, which I find interesting.
Yeah, one thing the first thing I wrote down after the scorpion thing was that like scene near the beginning when like Kendall is like being confronted by his wife like, yeah, our daughter is like, doesn't like the company.
Yeah, and so like can Kendall can Kendall actually get rid of the poison that's been plaguing,
Yeah.
Oyster Oroco? And ultimately he cannot. He's still just feeding into the same cycle that
I
his
mean,
father did.
he's the one that's, making the money off of like ATN running all this
Hmm.
like weird polarizing stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that I find that very interesting how Kendall is still this plays into my Kendall analysis. Um
Ooh.
Kendall, at the end of the day, he's still kind of just a bullshit artist, you know? And
Yeah.
and he reflects Matson in that way because they're both just that confrontation just shows how they're both just bullshit fucking artists. Like they nothing they do matters. This deal should have been done after episode 5. They're just continuing by the illusions of each other. They're just doing what they want to do because it's all bullshit for these people. They're fundamentally
Yeah.
broken people, and it's all just bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
Yeah, but I feel like Matson is better than Kendall.
I feel like this episode kind of proved that with the thing in India. He's not though.
Well, he was able to actually hide it more.
Yeah, but it's still it's all just recycled bullshit is my take.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say what else? On Kendall?
Kendall.
Kendall's having a lot of delusions of grandeur still.
Yeah. Like he thinks he's gonna completely turn this around and get everything that he wants, but he can't do that.
Which can I give a little prediction for what I think is gonna happen at the end of the show?
Ooh, prediction time.
Not prediction time, but I would like to say that I think at the end of the show, he will become the Logan we think he is. And the last shot is like him being the soulless head of the table, like his father does, and that's the end of the show. He's become the fundamentally broken person that Logan was.
So kind of looping back.
Yeah, cycle. Maybe it's like a repeating cycle where they kind of like take the place of Ewan, Logan's brother, and Logan, where maybe Roman becomes a Ewan, I guess.
Yeah, he gets outcasted kind of. But
Yeah.
Shiv's already like on the outcast, so I feel like that
hmm
role's more fit for her.
That's that's actually kind of true. That's very interesting that you said that.
Yeah. Like
Like,
she is like actively now like it was only like slight like manipulating to get the deal working and like in the past few episodes, but now she is like actively fighting her brothers at this party, doing the exact opposite of what they ask,
that,
inviting Matson.
yeah, that's like, how do you think, how do you think that conversation is going to, that reveal is going to go down with her brothers?
Uh Kendall's probably gonna be a lot more mad than Roman because Roman tries to, like keep the family more together.
hmm
So maybe Kendall completely walks away. Roman tries to keep the connection. Shiv walks away, and then Shiv becomes the outcast, and Kendall becomes the soulless
I,
head.
I agree with that because, like, I feel like that something's going to happen at the end of episode 9 and it's going to lead to, like, the big 1.5 finale of Succession, the last episode.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because, like, I really, I'm thinking about what you said about Roman being helping Shiv, and that's totally, because Roman, at the end of the day, he is the most emotional Rory, maybe?
Yeah.
Most soulful Rory. But you know what I found really interesting this episode?
What?
How I think Greg is the most soulless person there.
Yeah, that scene was really funny. It was like, guys, if you're on the Zoom call, you're fired.
That's like, because every, Greg is like that fucking guy in the back who just does the shit. You never really notice him. But guess what?
Yeah.
Everyone else in the show we see feel some demonic like some
Emotion,
human
yeah.
emotion. Like even fucking Logan, he was sad when he was talking to Colin about the what do you think humans are gonna do after like what's happening after,
Yeah.
like, but Greg, he's a soulless asshole.
Yeah, I love that scene where he's like talking with Matt, and then Matt's like, but like you felt some emotions, like, yeah, I felt joy. I loved stopping the people from getting home to their families. I liked it when they started crying.
And that's like, I'm just telling you that I feel like at the end of the day, nothing. Greg is never going to become CEO. The people who
He is
theorize that,
not.
but he's just going to become some higher up soulless asshole at the end of the show.
Yeah, I really hope he just like kills Tom. That'd be
Mm.
funny.
Like
I mean,
actually,
not like
or
actual
like
killing.
a backstabbing.
Yeah, backstab.
Because like we never get to see what Greg's like motives are. You know,
Yeah, I think you just assume it's like money or in power, like everyone else.
it's kind of like
But like,
just
okay, the worst thing is like, okay, he had money. He had $250 million in the will under his name, and he gave that up,
Hmm.
which is like, which says a lot about him.
Yeah, because like he could have just waited for the money, you know, but he
Yeah,
just
like,
wants power.
yeah,
It's kind of like he might be like maybe the most villainous character in the show. That's kind of a far reach. That's
yeah.
but that's just my take on it.
I'd probably say the most soulless, but
Hmm.
probably not evil.
Yeah, no, he just feels kind of like an alien wearing a skin, like a human suit sometimes.
Yeah,
Well, let's I have a few more thoughts and then we can move on to Barry.
yeah.
Okay, so I would say I wanna I wanna break down the Tom and Shiv fight.
Ooh,
So yeah,
yeah. That was a pretty long scene.
that was a very long scene, but I think it was a very powerful scene because, like, as we've said, this episode had like at the beginning of it, you're kind of like getting this false happiness that Tom gets from the conversation last episode, but
Yeah.
that's a false. That's never going to be happening because like they're not changing. They're just accepting just some sort of happiness. They need to actually talk about what they're feeling. You think? Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they're like keeping it silent, all their true emotions, and then just like
Hmm.
they said in the conversation, let's have a real conversation and actually
Yeah.
talk about
Did you notice that?
everything.
Did you notice that Tom? He said he's tired, but he's not actually tired. He's emotionally tired because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's hearing he's gonna
'Cause
get
he literally was
fired.
just getting his shit on the entire night.
He's emotionally tired, and that balcony scene is a powerful similar. It's a very that was a very honest and toxic argument they've had out there because, like, you know, they're like saying everything they need to at face value, but still Shiv is so broken that she's still not going to admit the truth to Tom because he says, "I don't care about you," and that's an inherent lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
Tom also says the most unspeakable thing, which is like, you're not going to be a good mother." And that moment is when I thought she was going to bring out, I'm pregnant" card. Did you feel that?
yeah, I completely forgot she was pregnant until you said that. They have
Yeah.
not brought it up that much, but it's definitely gonna come up in the next 3 episodes.
Hmm.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a very toxic. They have a very toxic relationship, just to say the least.
Yep.
And but the thing about them is that I think when Tom betrayed her to Logan, I was on Tom's side because I felt like that, she treated him like crap. But the thing is, she's also she's also wait, sorry. I got a text message from Aiden, and I was like, um, she also, she's also right about Tom. Tom is kind of still with her for her DNA.
Yeah, just like the money and the status that comes with it, and like climbing up.
He's still not better than she is, and that's like I think it's a good conversation that they had. Obviously, this might break the relationship up together, but I feel like still my theory is that they're going to be better for it.
Yeah, they do not seem the best together. Like they're both not really
Hmm.
happy.
And what else I would like to say is that you know, if you stop like any one of Tom's lines, they're very powerful, and you feel like if you stop at any one of Tom's lines, you feel like that's the end of the relationship. But he keeps going and going and going, like you're not a
Yeah,
good mother, like you don't care about me,
he just
and
keeps
then
digging.
and digging. And it was just like it was like this episode. It was a good episode, but this was an A+ scene,
Yep.
and um. I feel like, in a way, do you feel like I feel like this was a Shiv episode?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
because
was
like,
mostly just how Shiv reacts to everything, like the whole
mm-hmm,
Matson numbers
mm-hmm,
thing, how he reacts to that.
mm-hmm, and I would say kind of proving that, you know, Shiv is still kind of hiding from her emotions. Yeah, because Tom, she'll do anything and anything to say anything because she's been taught, everyone's been taught by Logan, it's all a game. Politics is a game. You can see that all the people here, they just need to be schmoozed and that's it. Everything's a game, but for real people like Tom, they bleed easily, not like the Roys. They are bloodless.
Yeah.
And just like, this is the impact of what Logan did to everyone. He's and it continued from Logan probably because like he said he had an uncle Noah who beat him as like a child or something.
Yeah.
It's like continued cycle of violence, as I always like to say. And so I don't know. You any good thoughts about about their fight?
I think you mostly covered all the big points.
Yeah. Okay. And so another scene. Uh,
I
yeah. We
think
talked.
the big thing that we've
Mm-hmm.
been missing is the all the Connor stuff this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was
You can
kind of
talk.
big for him.
Okay. You
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about it.
The big thing with Connor that I think is like in the beginning of the show, he is just like nothing. All he is just like a rich sibling. He has no connections to the company. He doesn't have like
Is
Shiv's connection to
is out
politics.
of touch.
Yeah. But then he's like in like season one, he's like, I'm gonna run for president. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna just like see that slowly grow to like, oh, he has like 1%. But now he's like getting like 2, 3%. Like he's actually gaining power. And I think it may seem small, but
Mm-hmm.
like being an ambassador to like a country is
Not
such like
nothing.
it's not nothing. Like that's a really important role. Like it Connor should not be having.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the insane power sway someone
Mm-hmm.
can have by just
Being
getting
rich.
that little edge in the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And now he could actually have political power.
Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of plays into what Connor's relationship was with like Logan. Because like everything Connor ever did was just so Logan could see him.
Yeah.
But now it's feeling now that Logan's gone, he can move past. Like he can actually do things that he wants to do, and he can actually have some life with Willa, like post this Logan world.
Yep.
And like, I think Connor might be the character who gets the most happiest ending at the end of the show.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he hasn't like lost mostly anything except his dad. Like that. Okay, that's actually a big loss. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't really suffered. All he's doing is like take the money,
Hmm.
become powerful in the political sphere, and just be able to like walk away from everything.
Hmm. And so let me just look through my notes, see if we have anything really left to say about this episode. Let's see. Mm, Sorry. I found it was very interesting. The like kind of like the Tom Shiv Matson balance, which found interesting. It's like they're both kind of this weird, this messed up love triangle between the three of them. Kind of.
Yeah.
It's like they're both kind of like all about the balance of power about between the three of them. It's like they're both they're all weirdly they're kind of both competitive for Shiv's love and kind of hate each other, which is why I would assume that this coming into the shit canning of Tom, like Matson kind of wants Shiv, so that's why he's shit canning Tom.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because then I get to the thing is Matson just manipulating Shiv, so why would he give a fuck about Tom? It's like it's all about like how you show yourself. It's
Yeah, I
about
mean like he's human also. I mean,
Yeah. Beca yeah, which is why I think they kind of this episode is also a deconstruction of Matson, as they said he's not actually a coder. He's just a guy we propped up.
yeah. And then he's like has all the fake stuff in India.
And then he does all the blood shit with
It kind of
Emma.
shows like we've seen him as this like imposing
Figure.
threat, powerful, but now it's like he's a fraud,
Hmm.
and
I
even
I
though it's like
totally
so
agree.
yeah.
It's like he's just like we think he's Logan, but this new money tech guy, he's not Logan. No one can really be another Logan, and
Yeah.
no one should be Logan because the guy says to him, "You're not Logan," and that's a good thing. We don't want another Logan. Logan was a terrible person.
Yeah, but he did get results.
Yeah, results, but at the at the cost of what though?
Yep.
Um, and so I would say let's just end with predictions.
Predictions. Okay. Matson deal. Probably gonna fall through
Hmm.
after all this stuff. Maybe on election night.
Maybe.
That would
I
be a lot of high
Yeah.
tension.
Yeah. Matson. I don't know. He revealed he kind of Matson and okay, I think I got it. Okay, Kendall and Roman they split up. Twist, right?
Yeah.
Kendall Greg betrays Tom for Matson
Yeah, I feel like Matson definitely took more of a liking to Greg
in this
in
episode.
this
Yeah.
episode, yeah. You didn't see
Uh,
him as just, "Oh, there's another one of them?
yeah.
Oh, who's this guy? I didn't invite
Oh,
him."
also, Oscar, his friend, he was such a dick.
He was. I mean,
I
they're all
probably
dicks. I mean, like, that
yeah
assistant was you could tell was so pissed off.
yeah.
So
I
pissed off
felt
that
good.
she literally leaked the thing that's gonna take him down.
Hmm. And he even expected that because like these guys are not friends. He said this shit. Was it
Yeah.
Ebba? Was it Oscar? He knows
Yeah.
that these guys aren't his friends because he's just a fundamentally broken person. This show's showing that all these rich people they're just fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Shiv and Tom. I still
Dunzo?
think I still think they're gonna get together. Happy family. End of the season.
I think Dunzo, Shiv keeps the baby, doesn't tell Tom.
I mean, yeah. Okay, let's get into Barry.
Okay, I can recap this one.
Okay, you recap.
Okay, so we jump in on where we left off. End of last episode, we thought, oh, this is gonna be like a fake vision. It's not gonna be a time jump.
It's no.
It was a time jump. So we jump ahead 8 years later. Barry, uh, Barry is like a dad now. He is like has this son, and
John.
John. His name's I did not know his name. I don't know. Yeah. So they're chilling in like some weird southern farmhouse.
Yeah,
Sally is extremely depressed,
yeah, yeah.
an alcoholic. So
Mhm.
Barry is like homeschooling his kid, sheltering him so much from the outside world.
And yeah, and I feel like the kid he kind of realizes that okay, we are not living a fucking normal life. This is fucking
Yeah,
weird.
it is.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and in the
So
way that the Succession episode was a Shiv episode, this episode was kind of like a Sally episode, I would say.
definitely. Okay, so we follow Barry. He like does all this stuff to try to like quote unquote protect his son, but he's mostly just like
Hmm.
stopping him from doing basically anything.
Baseball, video games, you name
No,
it.
yeah, no, so no video games. And then what's so funny is if you look at the scene, where he's like at the YouTube videos,
Yeah.
he Googled, wait, what did he Googled Little League deaths on YouTube. And so, and just like these people getting killed by baseballs, and the kid's like 8 years old. I don't know what this dude was thinking. Like, this is good parenting. And then there's like, yeah. So my friend got shot in the mouth. Like, he's somehow like protective
Hmm.
over
It
him,
also, yeah. It also
but he'll
leaves a
show
really
like
big
insane
part.
death.
Yeah, insane. Yeah. He's also leaving a really big part of the story he tells to his kid,
Yeah, like the fact that he didn't kill an innocent person.
Yeah. And so yeah, Beck, I totally agree that he's sheltering his
Yeah,
kid. And it's I think obviously we know why because he's in
yeah,
hiding. And I feel like, however, Barry is kind of an out of touch guy because like
Oh yeah,
this,
he is
yeah,
very emotionless. We've established that.
because I don't know if you realize this, but in all of Barry's in Barry's visions, we either see him like his past, like this desert where he lived with his dad, or
Yeah.
like a vision with him having children. So this is Barry's perfect life,
Yeah.
and it's showing how this is so depressing that this is Barry's perfect life. This is just like it's just
Yeah,
like
this is just like a downer of an episode.
it's also just a fucking weird episode, you know? This is such
Yeah.
a weird episode. Like this made me kind of like rethink the show a bit, you know, because not in a bad way. I think
It's
it
not like a
makes
comedy anymore.
it's like a very weird. It's more of a black comedy.
Yeah, well, okay. There were like 2 jokes this episode that okay, yeah. I'll explain the context for the other joke. So Sally, she is extremely depressed. She just left everything behind because,
Mhm.
she lost everything. So she is this extremely alcoholic, working as a waiter, and then
And
every
like
night she
he
just goes on her she
watches
watches
just
just
desserts.
yeah, literally her friend that made an extremely successful TV show. And I love the line is like, "Our show was quoted in the State of the Union address." Just like to show how absurd it is that this random like cupcake TV show was like insanely popular. It's like a
Hmm.
major blow to her.
That was like, and the show is such a fucking stupid show, you know, like Black
Man,
Licorice or something.
it could be good. I don't know. I haven't seen all of it. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, you
good
think?
premise. I'd watch a spinoff.
Oh, a Just Dessert spinoff.
Yeah.
That could be. You know, were you surprised by the non-existenceness of Fuchs, Noho, Hank?
They're
They probably come in later
I
episodes.
feel like Hank needs more of a conclusion, but we'll get that in LA. Fuchs has a good conclusion of the last episode being like stuck in prison.
Hmm.
But yeah, also Kusano, he's back. They're doing a biopic on Barry,
Yeah,
and
and
he's
I found it really interesting because like that ends the episode with saying, "I'm gonna go kill Kukunos." And that just told me, Barry, you haven't fucking learned a single lesson.
yeah, no, and like the kids go and like knock on his door, he pulls out a gun, and then he walks out, he
It
stands
stands
there
there.
holding the gun for like 5 hours. Like, what was this dude thinking? And the kids must have been like terrified.
Yeah, and Barry just doesn't know how to learn. I think at the end of this show, I feel like there's for all the crime shows. There's like four ways a crime show can end. Like either you win and you get some redemption, you don't win and you don't win but you kind of get like a redemption, or you lose and you lose and you don't get redemption. I feel like Barry is this type of thing where he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna die or something. You know, he's not gonna get a
Yeah,
redemption. And then I think it's more and more. Barry's a bona fide fucking serial killer. He's at the end of the day, he's not a good guy.
yeah. I think it's really sad, Kusano's arc. Like he just killed
Mm-hmm.
his son, and then he went in hiding for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I found that really interesting
I feel like they're gonna
because
be able to make like a lot more jokes next episode, like with the Barry biopic. Like, oh
mm-hmm.
guys, it's like a show about Barry, but you're watching a show about Barry.
Yeah, no, the Kusino arc is very sad. Like what was he doing in those? He's just like it was Kusino hiding within himself because I think once he realized he killed his son, he just couldn't handle it and just like hid from the world because like all of these characters, they're just kind of hiding who they are from the world. You know. Let's talk about let's talk about the Sally choking scene. When you watched that, were you like, what the fuck is going on?
I was. I it was a very confusing scene, but I think it's mostly like she killed the dude in the last episode. So she's also very traumatized by that.
Mhm. Yeah, because I don't know if you realize this, but I was reading some stuff and it was like this whole life, it's because Sally is punishing herself for killing that guy and she thinks she deserves this.
Yeah.
and she's forcing herself to have this life. It's kind of how like
Right.
Kim it went to Florida and Better Call Saul after Howard Hamlin was killed because she feels like they deserve it. They feel like they've done such a big travesty that they're pushing themselves into having this type of misery because Sally doesn't like Barry. She does not like Barry and she's disconnected from her child. But she feels like she deserves this life and she feels in a way at the end of the day when she hears that knock on the door, she wants Barry to protect her.
Yeah, and she wants her to kill.
And she feels
Yeah.
like if she doesn't do it, she's probably gonna get caught by the police or something for the murder.
Yeah.
And she feels like Barry can protect her no matter what.
I mean, technically, she's like not on the run, so she
Yeah.
could technically still come back from this.
Yeah. I mean, she's harboring like a fugitive, but you know,
That
I
I don't
guess.
know.
But
She could somehow get out of it.
I feel like it's Sally's feeling like her position in life is to be with violent men because like the
Yeah,
guy
you can see
Bevel
that cycle.
because Bevel the guy she was choking like
Yeah.
that would have been a guy that Sally would have dated.
Yeah.
And her choking him is kind of like finally taking power in her life or something. I felt. You would agree.
Yeah.
hmm And so I found that really quite interesting. I find it fun a really interesting thing that the religion aspect of it.
Yeah, I did not think of Barry becoming this, like, insanely religious guy.
I'll tell you why I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense because Barry's perfect life is just kind of like living at a simple, like little simple life, and that's like all these like guys in like the middle of the country. They're religious, but the thing about Barry doesn't understand religion at all. He's not gonna read the Bible. He just likes the idea of being religious.
Yeah. Like, when he told that fish story that had, like, no relation.
He doesn't understand things. He's kind of very naive in some ways. I would say.
Yeah, like, he is not a a human, kind of. He doesn't, like, have some of the things that makes him human.
I would totally agree. He's kind of like as we said, Greg in a way.
Yeah.
And that's a nice correlation, even though it's not really there. But
Yeah, well, if
yeah.
Greg can go kill 20 people, we can make that relation.
hmm And I really for both of these shows, as a final thing, I guess, I really just don't know where they're going. They're like so unpredictable.
Yeah, I don't yeah, I'm like, how are they gonna wrap this up in, like, 3 episodes?
Yeah, it's I don't know because we got 3 episodes of Succession and 3 episodes of Barry, and let's just you have any predictions for Barry?
Um, I really hope they have, like, Hank show up and, like, try to redeem him.
hmm
Uh,
Ending Sally kills Barry at the end of the show.
hopefully Kusuno kills Barry.
Yeah,
I
I,
feel like
I'm getting to a point where I kind of want Barry to die.
yeah, I'm noticing that in your predictions. You
Yeah,
really want him to die.
yeah,
I really hope they, like in one of the next 3 episodes, they can have, like, a pure comedy one,
hmm
so it
yeah.
just, like, feels a
But I,
lot more.
but I feel like this is just a natural progression of the plot of Barry. It's getting darker as they get into darker situations.
Yeah,
Not in
but
the
I
we're
like
not in
the
the happy
comedy
go
side
lucky.
more.
We're not in the happy go lucky that we were in season 1 and 2.
Then make some jokes, dude, make it funny.
It's
Do a
still
Ronnie
funny.
and Lily episode.
Yeah, I feel like this was kind of a running episode. It was just kind of centralized on one thing.
No. No, Ronnie and Lily was funny. This one had, like, 2 jokes.
So are you saying I think the Succession episode beat the Barry episode this week?
Uh, I don't know. Those Little League deaths were really funny.
Well, there's the joke for you, Beck. This has
Yeah,
been a
I think
yeah
we give Succession the
yeah the
point.
bump up.
Yeah, so 1-1. We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes next time on Double Threat, a Barry in Succession podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.